Depending on how you view the world, you're either going to love this video or hate it. Hey everybody, I am Carol Ann Reed with The Real Deal, where we give you the confidence and the clarity that you need to make the right real estate decisions for you. And if you like this kind of content, feel free to go down below and hit the subscribe button. So today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. I watched a video this week from a fellow real estate agent YouTuber who seems to be a really great guy, and he has some really great advice. And my intention is not to throw him under the bus or anything like that. So I'm not going to mention names or use clips or anything. If you want to watch the video when you're done with this video, I will put the link to it in the description down below. But his main idea of his video was that buyers are getting screwed in this market. And yes, it is a seller's market, and it seems to be slowing a little bit for winter right now, but it's still moving pretty quickly, and it is still difficult for buyers, especially first-time home buyers, to get into the market. Every house that goes on the market just about seems to have lots of offers on it, multiple offers, meaning that it's difficult for people to get sellers to pay for closing costs. And all loans have an appraisal process, but especially for the government-backed loans, FHA, VA, those have a stricter appraisal process. So people are coming to the table, other buyers are coming to the table with an extra $10,000 or $20,000 over asking price and over appraisal price. And so those buyers, their only option is to come to the table with that extra $10,000 or $20,000 cash to compete with everybody else. And yes, that is a really difficult place for a buyer, especially a first-time home buyer, to be. I totally agree with that. And he talks about how he thinks there are basically two well-worn paths to financial security in this country. And that is, number one, a 401k, or if you just stick some money in there every month, especially if you have an employer contribution, over time, the power of time, compound interest, you will have after, 10, 20 years, a pretty nice little nest egg for you, waiting for you for retirement. And that is true. The second path being home ownership. And he talks about his experience where he bought his first house 10 years ago. He bought it using a VA loan, so no down payment. He got the sellers to pay his closing costs. So he got to come to the table with zero money. He didn't have to pay anything. And the house payment was even lower than his rent. So he felt very fortunate, and that he'd been given this gift by the country because the country feels that home ownership is an important thing. And I agree with that as well. And then he talks about how over the last 10 years, that house has gained $100,000 in equity, which is fantastic. So he now has this $100,000 nest egg just waiting for him for if he retires, or he can refi and cash it out and use it in other financial portfolios that he may have to grow it even further. So his concern is that the buyers of today that can't get in the market are going to miss out on the power of time in growing that home equity. And while he admits he doesn't really have a solution to the problem, he throws out a couple ideas of perhaps the government-backed loans waiving the appraisal requirements that they have to make themselves more competitive. Or if maybe they come up with a whole new loan option altogether to address this specific market. So what do I think about all of this? I will tell you. But first, please go down below and hit that like button. So here is my take. And for some people, this is going to be maybe a bitter pill to swallow. But my take is that home ownership is not a right. It's a privilege. And it's a privilege that we have to work for. I agree that as a whole, home ownership is a good thing. It's a healthy thing for this country. But government-backed loans historically have a much higher delinquency rate, by almost double than regular conventional loans. So what that tells you is that the people who are getting these loans, and it's not everybody, but a lot of the people who are getting these loans are not ready for the responsibility of home ownership. Maybe they just need to rent for a little bit while, save a little bit more money. If they don't have the money in the bank to come to the table with closing costs, and in this market, maybe even a little bit extra to be able to compete with those higher offers, then maybe it's best to just rent for a while and save up that nest egg. Because remember, you don't need just the cash that you need to come to the table, but you need to have some cash in reserves for those emergency funds. Because if a month later the furnace goes out, guess what? That's got to get paid for. So you have to also have money in reserves for emergencies, for house costs. And he also mentions his belief that there's a foreclosure wave coming as well. And I don't really think that that's going to happen. But if it does, if things happen the way he thinks that they're going to happen, if that's the case, and we have all of these new foreclosure houses that have been foreclosed on coming onto the market and flooding it, well, that just means it's going to turn to a buyer's market in a heartbeat. If we have too many houses on the market, not enough people to buy them, it's a buyer's market. And so maybe even as early as next year, those people who are being froze out right now, those buyers, will be in the perfect position to get those houses at lower rates only a year from now. So they'll have plenty of time to build that nest egg of equity over time. And while it's really nice to know that he's so grateful for the great position that he was able to put himself in to get a VA-backed loan with no closing costs and no down payment, I just want to put it out there that that was not a gift. He did earn that money by joining one of the services, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. I'm not sure which one it was, but he joined the services. So he earned it. That's just a perk for doing that particular job. So, and I understand that not everybody qualifies actually to be in the services, but those who do can certainly take that path and get those perks for themselves. And I understand going out and joining the armed services is not the best idea for everybody. So what is a good solution for everybody else? Well, my solution is to go find a property where you can build equity in it over time. Go find a property that needs help, needs a little love. There are lots of properties on the market that are perfectly move-in ready. They're good houses. They just have avocado green carpet. And things like that. There are places where you can make those improvements and get that equity over time without breaking your budget. You can live there and make those changes as your budget allows. So then you're gaining the equity that you get by fixing it up, plus the equity over time. So you'll probably end up in pretty much the same position as those buyers who are buying now the houses that are all fixed up at the top of the market. If you like this kind of content, feel free to go right here next to me and hit the subscribe button. Or you can go right here and watch a video that YouTube has picked out just for you. See you next time.